normal day, right here. Weapon to my side, working through my Department of State interpreter, so I can tell someone, hey, I'm sorry, put your kids and your wives in the back room. I'll tell my Jundies or I'll tell my men, don't be an ass. So every day there was that battle. All of us that have been through Desert Storm, Somalia, Iraq, Afghanistan, all these different operations over the past 26 years, and for some of you all that are Vietnam era and older, no different. Different time, different social environment, but war is war, battle is battle. So every day our battle. Walk out the lines, go out, fight in the streets, and come back. Keep clicking that switch on and off. So I put these pictures up here. One day I'm talking to somebody, the next day or the next minute or the next hour we're in a fight. Those mental challenges, like Van was talking about. Now for all of us staff NCOs and leaders, we talk about, hey, how are you going to overcome it? How many of us in the military, how many of us as civilians, as fathers, as kids, as whatever, when we're having a bad day, anxiety's up a little bit, what do? Hey, go for a run. I'm no fat guy you would think go for a run. Go for a run. Run with my guys, run by myself, do whatever. Relieve the stress a little bit. Well, the mental challenges of combat environment, you can't do that, right? Especially now. And now when you take a bunch of young Marines or young soldiers or young service members into combat, one minute you're on the base, they're playing Xbox or PS3 or one of these damn video games. Next minute they're going green and leaving the gate. What do you think that does to us? Up and down. Switch goes up and down. Those are those mental challenges. Well, May 16th, 2006, everything changed for me. 4 Marines, 4 SEALs, 8 Special Operation Iraqi forces we were training. We get called out to go on a mission. The Iraqi soldiers were 1 block over in Ramadi. I was on North Stadium Way with my guys. They got in a skirmish. Had 4 or 5 guys in the house at the end of the street. We're shooting them up. They call in and say, Spank, we need you to get up there. I want you to call in and drop a bomb on the house. That's my job. That's what I do. Got to the first house, got up on the rooftop. I told the young SEAL Lieutenant Seth Stone, I said, listen, I don't like it. There's a thing that we live by now, and most of us understand, it's called PID, positive identification. I don't have a good PID. Remember, I always look at everything the same way. If you deserve killing, that's the unfortunate route we raise our hand. They decided to choose that chess match. But I don't want to kill anybody that doesn't need to be killed. I'll answer to God for the dirty stuff. All of us will. But I will never say that I had to kill somebody that I didn't have to. So May 16th, as we decide to push down that, out of that house, go a block up the street, we walk right into a sniper's nest. First guy gets shot, takes one through the head. I take 2 SEALs and one of my Marines, okay, dumbass style, now I look at it. I've done immediate action throughout my whole recon career and doing immediate action drills. Well, instead of doing pop and smoke, getting the guy out of there, dragging him out of the street, what do? We stood right in the middle of the street, we suppressed fire so the SEAL medic could drag him in and start working on him. It's just what we did. About 30 seconds into that, I took a bullet right through the knee. Hence the nice, sexy apparel that everybody got a kick out of when I was throwing that up earlier. So that was my change. Now I'm almost 35. It was just before my 35th birthday, sorry. I'm a gunnery sergeant. I've been in the Marine Corps for 17 years, since I was 17 years of age. I'm laying up, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, looking at the blue sky, looking at West Baldwin, my medic. I've got Bravo Stevens. He's the guy that's trying to put pressure on my femoral artery. Bullet went right through my knee, blew top my tib off, through the base of my femur off, popliteal for you medical folks. Took my popliteal nerve bridge and artery out. Bleeding pretty good. I didn't figure out prior to this. I hit the deck. For all of us that have been hit in combat, we know what that's like, unfortunately. When I hit the deck, we're in the middle of a gunfight. My first instinct was, what the hell just happened? Get your weapon in front of me. So when I finally was able to get my weapon in front of me from the prone position and continue to fire, I didn't realize how bad it was until I went to reload my mag and my foot was on top of my magazines on my chest rig. Then I knew, well, yeah, crap. Fight is all I've got left because flight at this point sucks. So once they got me drug into by the time I was in the street and I was at this position right here, that was 3 magazines and 4 rounds of HE out of my 203. I carried an M4 of the 203. So it got me here, I'm laying up at the blue sky, I look down at West, Bravo's pissing me off because at the beginning he was laying across my chest rig on my plates, trying to put his elbow into my femoral bridge to stop the bleeding because as you saw in the previous slide, and I kind of went through it quick, I had a pretty bad pig trail leading into that courtyard that we're in right here in this driveway. Especially what this is, a driveway in Ramadi. So I'm laying there, I'm looking up, and I keep telling Wes Baldwin, the medic, I was like, hey brother, just let me put my damn hand back there. Let me know what's going on. If I'm going to die, I want to know what's going on, because then I'm going to give myself my 10 cc morphine, and I'm going to go to sleep. He's like, no, Gunny, just relax. Put a couple tourniquets on me, try and get the blade. I'm like, damn it, Doc, just let me put my hand in there. So finally, Bravo kind of raised up, got off my chest. I put my hand back there, and God gave me these little hands. Felt it back, and my whole hand came out blood, and I was like, my glove, because I had a glove on, obviously. I was like, well, screw it, Doc, I'm giving it. Am I cool? So here's the joke. For all of us who have been wounded, you'll understand this part. So I take my 10 cc auto injector out of my chest pocket, and I take it out, and I said, okay, I'm going to put it, obviously the only place I can put it, because Bravo moved, is in my right hip. I take it out, and I've been around the world a little bit, okay? I'm not naive to combat. I'm not naive to immediate, remedial, any of the actions medically in combat. But I've never been shot like this. I've never been put down like this. Take that out, and I don't even think about it. Boom, bam! And I go to put it in my hip, and the damn thing went right through my pinky. I had it backwards. So here's the humor in battle that you'll get. And for a couple of the kids, you're going to have to do what I tell my kids. You're going to have to earmuff for 1 second, because I'm going to quote myself. I raised it up, and I said, God damn it, son. And I just going on. I'm like, Doc, look at this shit. Now I've got a SEAL lieutenant, a SEAL medic, a first-class petty officer, 2 Marine corporals, and we're laughing. Because I'm sitting there going, I just put the damn thing in my pinky. Screw it, there's something left. I pulled it out with my other hand, and I jammed it like 5 times in my butt. And Doc's like, Spank, what are you doing? I said, I don't care, I'm going to stab myself anyway for being a jackass. But here's the point. Thanks for clapping on that part. So here's the point that I'm looking up in the sky going, what's going to happen now? First, I don't know if I'm going to live, because I know how much I'm bleeding. I know the extent of my injury. But I don't know. My future is unknown. So that starts my recovery process. All of us that have been wounded, but one of us that went through some kind of adversity in our lives, the recovery is the same. It's just levels of recovery that are different depending on the level of injury. I'm lucky because, different to Greg Gatson over there, I'm a paper cut compared to him as a double. We're paper cuts compared to the triples and quad amputees. We got the Danish gentleman over there who does all the rides that, took a round through the chest, and he's from here down, paralyzed. We all have our levels of recovery. My level of recovery in the hospital, I was shot May 16th, leg was cut off 2 hours after I was shot in T.E.A.M. Bethesda National Naval Medical Center, whatever the hell they're calling it now, Walter Reed with a whole bunch of other letters behind it. I was there on the morning of the 19th. So in less than 3 days, I was shot, amputated, and back in the States. Now I'm stoned. I don't remember the first couple weeks anyway. I was going through surgeries every other day. I don't even remember it. I don't remember getting my Purple Heart, which was the 3rd week, with my then 2.5-year-old daughter. But that's when it became. When I came out of my little, as we all know in the hospital, my video game stupor, I had to figure out, as a Marine gunny, 35 years of age, 17 years over in the Marine Corps, what I needed to do to get forward in my life. And that's the way I put it, forward. Because I'm not going to slide back, because as Marine Staff and CO, if I slide back, what are all those other young service members, not just Marines, going to say? Just like Greg. Greg knows that, as being a lieutenant colonel when he was wounded. What are we going to do to prove to them that they can do it too? Because I'll tell you what, if they see the fat old one-legged guy doing it, God forbid they let themselves slip farther back than me, because I'll get in their ass when I was a patient. Now, the worst part, now here's my another funny moment, and that's why I use this photo, that right photo. So I'm shot May 16th. I take my first step July 7th, 2006, just about 7 weeks after I was wounded. I use this photo because in a moment of levity, I feel like the old person, no offense to the old people, especially Luke. It's old people in Oklahoma, though. with my damn walker in Walmart. And I hated it because the staff at Walter Reed took a picture, and I'm like, this is not the picture I want to have. Every time I've talked about my recovery, I've used this picture because mental challenge. If I was a 19-year-old single amputee taking a first step holding a walker, what kind of hurdle is that? Right? That's hard. That's hard to accept. That's not the way we are the moment we were wounded in battle. Before we were wounded in battle, we're these vibrant men and women. We were fighters, we were doing our job, we were defending, we were standing up for something. Now we're with the walker. Mental is harder than physical most of the time, in my book. So how are you going to overcome this adversity? Well, obviously, for me as a reconnaissance Marine, I was able to lean back on 17 years of physical prowess. I could jump in the water, I could get on a bike, I could do the things. Now, I was never a triathlete. So the picture to the left is November, and I'm going to tie into World Team Sports here in a moment, so you got to bear with me. The picture to the left is November 2006, when I did my first half Ironman. And I only was able to do, because it's only 4 or 5 months after I was wounded and lost my leg. So this is me coming out of the water out of the 1.2 mile swim and getting ready to hand cycle the 56-mile bike ride. I couldn't run the 13. I'd done a 5K the week before that, but it was no way I could run a 13-mile run at the point. So the left picture is my first race, my first big triathlon. The center one is Lake Anna, which was early summer of 2007. It's the first time I did a stand-up bike and not a hand cycle. My hand cycle time for 56 miles during the half Ironmans was about 5 hours, 4.5 to 5 hours, depending on the hills. And for all of us that hand cycle, we know hills are they're the sucky part. Because you get down to like 1 mile an hour and you're like embarrassed everybody's passing you. So I said, I gotta go. Well, all of my therapists kept telling me, because at this point I'd left Walter Reed and I went to San Antonio to the Center for Intrepid. And they were asking me, they were like, hey, you don't need a bike. As a single above the knee amputee, you should not wear a leg. I said, don't tell me what I can and can't do. I'm gonna try it. And I had this rogue old mechanical knee. Well, I did it in like 3.5 hours. I shaved almost, an hour and a half off my time. I said, well, that's it, I'm doing it. Now the next picture, which I'll talk more about here in a second, is me just running for conditioning in Fallujah in 2008. So exploring. Once, we all know this, but some of you folks might not. Once you're recovering, you have to get a personal best again. Anybody that goes through any physical change, any of it, you have to explore, what are my new physical bests? What can I do? What can I not do? If I can't do it, can I ever do it? Can I look at a mentor? Can I have somebody that I see doing it and I can follow in their footsteps? I can ask them for hints, pointers, tips. But you have to explore that. I really love, now all of us are in the hospital for a period of time. We know all the different skiing trips. The one on the left is in Crested Butte, Colorado, doing one of the adaptive programs. But one of my favorite ones is the picture to the upper right. Now, like I said, I'm a country boy from Oklahoma. Most of my time in the Marine Corps, 11 years of it at that point, had been spent in Camp Pendleton, California. A little bit of time in Okinawa, a little bit of time on recruiting duty. Never had I ever followed some dogs on an Inuit sled across some open terrain. So when I got the opportunity to test it, to see if they wanted to start using wounded warriors to do that form of physical test, not just skiing or not just the summer work, we're going to try it. I said, well, hell, I'll do it. And we did it in preparation to do a 1,000-mile trek across Canada. But that's part of exploring. What did Van talk about? Van talked about the different kind of benefits we get here from World Team Sports. Some of it gets aggressive, the adventure racing big time. So that leads me right into World Team Sports. The picture to your left is by far, and I'm not just saying this because they asked me to come out here, by far to this day, and I will say it every day until the day I die, the hardest thing I ever did was what they called then the real deal, which is now the Adventure Team Challenge in Colorado. We went up by Eagle, Colorado, we did the 3-day adventure race, and instead at that point of being 2 non-able-bodied people in the team, our whole team was non-able-bodied. So the whole point of that was to go out there and test. This is at the beginning on the mountain bike ride. Thank God the first part, and I thought this was going to be the easy part, was going downhill. Oh, well, this is going to be fun, until we had to go uphill. And for all of us above the knee amputees in the room that ever done mountain biking, uphill is until the Bartlett tendon knee came out, a batch of cookies. There, kids are here. So, when Patty asked me to come out here, I was like, oh, hell yeah. And when Van talks about what is these kind of events, Faces of America, the Adventure Team Challenges, all these different races that World Team Sports on, what is it meant to do? It's meant to drive us forward. It's meant to accelerate our recovery, get new personal bests, and go on. So what did that do for me? January in 2008, I returned back to Fallujah, Iraq for a nice long year. Now, a lot of people like to talk big about it, and first above the knee amputee to go back into ground combat since the Civil War, all that trash. It was never the Spanky Gibson story. But I promise you, Colonel Gadsden, and many of us that are still active duty or recently just retired from active duty, that were living on active duty as an amputee, wanted us to be able to tell our young wounded warriors, if they stay through continue on active duty, permanent duty, whatever program their service is going to give them, we want them to have the luxury or the chance or the capability to go as far downrange as possible with what their limitations will allow. That's all I ask from the Marine Corps. Okay. I kept it as much a secret as possible. When I got my orders to be able to go back and start my workup, I told the command and the people around me at Camp Pendleton, this is not a PR campaign. I don't want public affairs living on it. I don't want none of that crap. I want to go back to prove to what the Corps at that time, the Marine Corps, I want to prove what we can do, what we can accomplish. Because at 35, almost 36 years of age, as a gunnery sergeant, single above the knee amputee from a gunshot, not a blast injury, I can try to prove as much as possible that you can wear off. Because if a fat old guy can do it, the younger kids should be able to do it too. So, all of the adventures leading up to going back in January 2008, 18 months later, all gave me the mental capability to prove what I could get out there and accomplish. To prove what we could all. The only reason I got to go back to Iraq is because General Mattis and his chief of staff, Colonel Clark Lathine, were in San Francisco when I just swam from Alcatraz I was doing an Alcatraz challenge. I just swam in, got one of my guys, John Stepanowski, that's for you, Ben, came up to me to hand me my crutches. The former commandant of the Marine Corps, Al Gray, was there. General Mattis is there. And General Mattis goes, "Oh shit, Marine, you can swim." I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'm built like a battleship, but I can get up there." He goes, "If I ever do anything, you just ask." All right. Took that card, called Colonel Clark Lathine a month later and said, "I want to do a IA form, okay, it's an administrative form, to go over with General Kelly when he leaves in January." They made it happen. So I went through, did my time, did a congressional fellowship when I got back in 2009, brought me here to D.C., worked on the House Committee for Veterans Affairs, did my payback tour at the Pentagon, working for the Assistant Sec Nav, Juan Garcia, decided it was my time to retire. My boys were 10 and almost 12 at the time. Said, well, time to get out of D.C., move back to Oklahoma. I got a little farm of 60 acres. So I'm going to get out there and have some fun. I was back was on terminal leave for 100 days. Started graduate school January 2012. Thought graduate school would be enough to keep me busy. Wasn't working. So my boys typically go to California for the summer with their mother. So I'm sitting there thinking, well, I'm not taking summer classes. It's almost my birthday. What am I going to do all summer with my kids gone? I'm going to go to Afghanistan. So the picture to the right is me at Camp Leatherneck in Afghanistan, July 2012, because I wanted to surprise some of my friends and come over there and say, hey, happy 4th of July. And it's great when you see a bunch of your friends who are now master guns, when we're all master sergeants together. When I get off the little bus when I flew on a Blackwater bird to get in the country, and I get there and they go, Spanky Gibson. Hey, what's up, brother? What are you doing? You retired, right? Yes, I did. What the hell are you doing here? My kids are at their mom's. They had nothing to do. But once we accomplish it, once that we set out to say nothing is out of our stretch, we can get it. Well, then we got to mentor. We got to share it. Just like for the first-time riders here. If you come back and do it again, it's your job to mentor. It's your job to grab a new wounded warrior or somebody struggling back wherever you're from. I work for the Oklahoma Department of Veterans Affairs. I'm a state VA employee in the state of Oklahoma. I talk to veterans every day about their service benefits, pension, and compensation. I'm 90% service connected. I'm not 100%. And I look at these veterans, and I spin my leg around in my dockers, and I say, what the hell are you whining about? Get out there and push yourself. I'll help you get the compensation, I'll help you with the benefits. But here's my story, here's what you can do. Because if you can't do it, you're not recovering, you're backsliding. So every day, whether it's one-on-one or whether it's a room of 600 amazing people, we have to do this. It's our job, every one of us, to go out there and get the next person. Go do this ride, go do this run, do this adventure race, do this swim. Do whatever you can.
$1,000 for $142,485. Will Captain David Ray please come to the stand?
I just wanted to say thank you to my team. They did a tremendous job, and we're moved with this. This is our 9th year when Lon asked us to do it. A group of us came up, and I think we raised about $15,000. We drove here, and we just knew from that, after that weekend, we said, we'll do this every year. And every time we come here, every weekend, it's a great time. If we could raise $1 million, we would do it. So I just pushed and pushed, and we had great results, but everybody should be proud of themselves. We all did a great job. Thank you. There you go.
I should make mention, there were 35 teams for this event. So we've recognized 4 teams. But 31 teams raised half of all the money. So I want to thank the other 31 teams that raised almost $250,000. Incredible. And I want to thank all the men and women who've served their country. The opportunity to ride with you and spend time with you is a privilege. And when we first started this, there was only 30, 40 of us. Now there's 600 of us. And I tell everybody I meet that this is a privilege and an honor to ride with men and women that serve their country. Thank you.
Okay, remember what I said. If that number is bigger next year, Lon and I go out of an airplane, and I'll try to make it happen at the end of the ride in Gettysburg into the finishing event. I gotta come back in, please. Nobody seems to believe me when I say that. Okay, teams are made up of individuals, and so individual fundraising has been fantastic again this year. It would not be complete of me to do, I would be not doing my job if I didn't call out some people that have done some stellar work. Anthony Tremarky, I'm gonna blow it, right? Okay. $6,940. Thank you very much. David Ray, $7,415. Louis Ciliberti, $8,285. Consistently one of our highest fundraisers each year. Gary Gordon, $8,446. And James McCauley, $11,000. Thank you very much. Our top 10 fundraisers will all be receiving one of the jackets that Spanky had earlier. We'll be sending those out to you in the mail in the next few weeks. We were going to try and give them to you tonight, but when we put in our orders, some of the ones didn't show up. We've had a few issues with the mail this week, yada yada, you know what I'm saying. But we will get them out to you. And here's the number, $523,000 on an eight. That's unbelievable. Charles Gray told me a couple of years ago, he said, this is $1 million event, you haven't gotten there yet. And I believe, after starting to see the numbers that we're seeing, this is $1 million event. And we appreciate it. I also have a reward back here later for you, Charles. It's called the Big Whistle Award, but I couldn't bring your whistle up here with me, but we're probably going to make you ride it the whole route. So you'll see me later for that. For those of you that have worked with Charles on a ride, you'll understand by the time we get Sunday why we have that award. This is one of my favorite parts of the evening. I get to call some people out, basically everybody in the room. Do we have anybody in here who served in World War II? Anybody at all? Not this year. That's sad. I have to delete that next year. Korea. Do we have a Korea vet in the room? Do we have any Vietnam veterans in the room? If you served in OIF or OEF, and Spanky just called me out. Do we have a Desert Storm vet in the room? There you go. And now, if you are able, please stand up, everybody. If this is your first Face of America, please take a seat. Wow. If this is your second Face of America, please take a seat. If this is your third, number 4, 5, 6, 7, and it really gets thin after that. I'm going to stop right there. Please give these guys a round of applause for continuing to show up. That's very interesting. I have no idea why those X's are on my PowerPoint slide right now. Apparently someone was playing with my presentation when I wasn't looking. Awesome, thank you. I appreciate that. I will kill you later. That's awesome. Would anybody like a friend? Apparently I have a spare one. Hey, Bobby Brown, can I get you up here very quickly? We got a couple of admin things to do. Please stay with me. We're getting down to the end of the program. I know everybody's tired or ready to get to the bar. I'm not going to differentiate. I'm not going to call you out which one you are. We got a couple of admin items we got to go through. I'm going to let Bobby give a quick safety brief. We'll do part of this again tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, it's going to be in the 30s. It is going to be cold. It is going to be hard to get out of the hotel room. I know that. Please pay attention to the timeline. I also know that it has been a very cold winter. It has been a cold winter. A lot of people haven't trained. Please stay on your bike, ride your bike. When you're done, get in the sag, let us get you to the next stop, then get back on your bike. We can't hold the whole ride down. We can't slow the whole ride down. Bobby, turn over to you really quick. One last thing. We're almost done with the silent auction. If anybody wants to make any last minute bids, please go post those, and then we'll wrap this thing up.
Thanks, Dan. All right, real quick, and I know we all want to get out of here, especially us who have to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Ben already said it, layers. Wear your layers tomorrow. As we get going to the rest stops, go ahead and take your layers off at that time. try not to do it while we're riding along the road. If you stop, a safety marshal's going to have to stop with you to make sure the traffic gets around you okay. Very important, we all saw Herb Mendel, the moto crew. We do have motorcycles running up and down the road to get the entry points for us, keep traffic off our backs and off our sides. The roads are not closed, which means that you have to stay to the right so they can get through as oncoming traffic's coming at them. We're going to be asking you to stay right. Please understand no more than 2 abreast throughout this weekend. If you're more than that, then it's going to cause a safety issue, and we're going to have to ask you to move over a little bit. And if you don't, we'll have to get Anthony to ask you to move over a little bit. Also, we talked about the weather that we've had here out in the Mid-Atlantic. The roads, you'll find out, are pretty terrible at certain parts along the way. Please help your fellow riders, call out those potholes, call out the debris and gravel that's in the road, and we'll all make it through okay. Tomorrow what we want to do is we'll have another quick talk about the ride coming up and some of the terrain that we're going to hit. Most of the hills and things that we'll hit will be on Sundays, traveling to Gettysburg, so I won't go over a lot of that today. Please understand that we are out there to make this ride an event for you and to make you all safe from here to Gettysburg. We'll reiterate things at rest stops. We'll ask you to keep moving. Van talked about sagging. We're not taking you out of the ride. We're taking you to the next rest stop so you can get back into the ride. The reason we have to do that is with 600 riders out here, we could have a 5 to 6 mile train going down the road. And with the motos crews and all the safety marshals that we have, it's going to be near impossible to keep you all safe and together. So when we come up to you and ask you to be sagged, please understand we're not taking you out of the ride. You get back in at the next rest stop and continue on. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Anthony. He's going to talk a little bit about the timeline this weekend. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to get hold of one of us in these cute little shirts.
Good evening, everyone. Tomorrow morning, the hand cyclists will be placed out front by the breezeway. I need all hand cyclists at your bikes at 6:30 in the morning. 6:30 in the morning. Here's why. If you're not there at 6:30 and we go through Fort Myer and you're not at the end, you don't go through Fort Myer. So all hand cyclists, 6:30, 6:40, be ready to hand off your dogs, your luggage. 6:45 will take you over to the staging area, which is where the ceremony is going to be. All able-bodied cyclists, head over in that direction. Marshals will get you out there. Leave the center open at 6:45. We're going to bring the hand cyclists around right up through the center. And 7 o'clock the ceremony starts, and shortly after that we leave for Fort Myer. Fort Myer this year is only down the block. So again, if you don't get through Fort Myer, you don't get through Fort Myer. So I need everybody, especially hand cyclists, at 6:30 in the morning. Sunday morning, the ride start is 7 a.m. So be out of your hotels, ready to catch your last shuttle by 6:30. See you in the morning.
Thank you very much. Again, not to beat the drum too hard, but these guys put in a lot of effort. Please listen to them. Everybody gets tired on the road. Tempers get a little short. Listen to what they're saying. They're doing it for your safety, not to hear themselves talk, except for Charles. He doesn't like to hear himself talk. But tomorrow morning, 5:30, 6:30, we have breakfast and baggage stage down here. Please put your baggage in the truck out front. Then come in, grab a little breakfast, head out to the parking lot. Capital One will have some bagels in the parking lot set up for us. 6:30 hand cycles. 7 Sheridan parking lot. 7:30 the ride begins. At 7:30 the ride begins. If you're not with the ride when we start, you don't get to ride because we have a very tight permitting window, as everybody knows, here, Fort Myer, through DC, along the Clara Barton Parkway until we get out of the district. We have very small gates that they allow us to hit. So you've got to be on your pedals, ready to ride. Everybody will need their ID on them going through Fort Myer. They are not going to stop us at the gate, but if an incident happens while we are transiting the base, if some guy lands his gyrocopter on the Capitol lawn and they decide to shut it down, you will have to convince the MPs who you are with your picture ID. If you do not have your photo ID, I will leave you behind while you explain to the MPs who you are as we ride on to Gettysburg. Tomorrow morning, if you are a caregiver, you need to be in the lobby at 9:30. The bus will take you to the lunch stop. You will reboard the bus. You will then go to the end of the ride. You will get to the end of the ride before 3 o'clock, which is when the hotel rooms are going to be ready. Plan to wait. Don't go to the front desk and demand your room. Don't pound on the desk. The girl doesn't care. They're going to get the rooms ready. When they're ready, they will get you in their room as fast as possible. 3 o'clock is check-in time. By yelling at the poor girl at the front gate doesn't expedite anything. Expect to wait and plan that way. Sunday morning, your job as a caregiver is to help get your rider to the start of the ride, then go back and get yourself ready. Breakfast is provided at the start of the ride. Some of the hotels do have breakfast included, some do not. We do not pay for the breakfast at the Hilton Garden Inn. It's a lovely breakfast. It's about $14 for an omelet and a piece of toast. If you'd like to have that, feel free. We do not buy that for everybody. Timeline for Sunday, we just went through this. Expect to get to Gettysburg between 12:30 and 1 on Sunday. If you have someone meeting you, 12 o'clock is when you want to tell them to get there. They get to see the tail end of the Greyhound Dog Show, which is at the Gettysburg Hotel before we leave. As always, I would like to say that we at World Team Sports, thank you. You know, I've emailed this out to everybody. Everybody has this in an email somewhere. Somewhere. I thought my wife was the only one that didn't listen to what I had to say. 5:30, 6:30 breakfast, 6:30 get out of your hotel. On Sunday, again, it's going to be cold. Don't try to wait for the last shuttle from your hotel to get to the start of the ride. Get up, get out the door, get to the start of the ride, have breakfast, be ready to go, and be ready because at 7 a.m. we have to put feet on pedals to get out of the city of Frederick. They have another event going that afternoon. We have to be gone. Please stay with us. 10:30 on Sunday morning, Portia Henson will be corralling all the caregivers. She'll get you on your bus. You're going to go up to Gettysburg. You get to hang out for the afternoon until the riders get there. Now, can I go to this slide? Everybody has a DVD on your seat. Feel free to take one of those with you. Again, I thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your life to show up and participate in our event. And together we are World Team Sports. You're what this organization is all about. I am now going to invite the American Bombshells up, and they're going to sing us out. Wait a minute, what are you saying? The silent auction. If you bid on an item, please stop by the table on the way out to see if you won. We're going to take care of that there instead of calling everybody out. Ladies, a couple songs, please, and then we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Just my family by my side, be my lucky stars to living with the past still stands beyond and I'm proud to be American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the man who died and gave the right to Across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining seas, from Detroit down to Houston, from New York to LA, where there's pride in